Hey, this is video 30 and this is all about corporate plan and cultures, and in particular strategic implementation, which is the process of allocating and controlling resources to support chosen strategies. So the process of allocating and controlling resources to achieve certain strategies from there. Right, now the first thing you may have is a corporate plan, which is a bit like a business plan, only much bigger than that. And it is a methodical plan containing details of the organisation's central objectives and also the strategies which will be contained in them to achieve those objectives. Now, a typical corporate plan may include a mission statement and a vision statement, which binds the whole company together, gives it a sense of direction. Then you're going to have the objectives. Then from there you may analyse the current situation of the firm, SWOT analysis, pest analysis, etc. Then you go for your strategy choice, and particularly you'll be looking at ANSOS matrix, or you may decide to go for cost minimisation or for differentiation as regards Porter. Then is the implementation of that particular plan, and also a control and review process to check that you're achieving these certain objectives. There will also be in there the main objectives of each department, because you've got to tell people what's going on within that plan. The benefits of a corporate plan is that it gives us senior management a clear focus, communicates a sense of purpose to all the staff, and it also allows you a control mechanism within the organisation. Plans will obviously have to change, because you're going to write a plan and the world changes rapidly, technology changes rapidly, recessions in countries change, but within that corporate plan you may also have a contingency plan as well. Okay, so this first lesson is really just stating what a corporate plan is and what's contained within a corporate plan. Thank you. Okay, so here we're just finishing off again with a corporate plan, and a corporate plan is made up of a vision statement, you have the corporate objectives, and you do some situation analysis, SWOT analysis, pestle analysis. Then you'd make a strategic choice, maybe through ANSOS matrix, through decision trees, etc. Then you implement it, and then you review the plan from there. Now, there are a number of influences of a plan. Have you got enough money is probably the main one. Is your operation plant big enough, and have you got the right skills? So say, for example, if you're entering a new market, which is with a new product, and therefore you're going to have those skills to be able to get into that market, and have you got the right management team to do that? External influences, well, we all know that things change very, very quickly. External environment, technology, changes in economic conditions, macroeconomic conditions. I should also have technology on there as well. So things can change very, very quickly, especially these days with 3D printing and nanotechnology. Right, we're next moving on to a really big subject here called corporate culture. And what it is the value and attitudes of the workforce in an organisation that control the way that people interact with each other and with external stakeholder groups. Or you can also do it the way in which we do things around here. Now, there's been quite a lot of studies on this, and basically if an organisation has the right culture, then it's likely that your organisation is going to move forwards. And this is a very, very difficult thing to do. So you're looking at, I mean, the obvious example is always football clubs. And can I talk about the English Premiership for a bit? Aston Villa has underperformed for years and years and years, and people eventually cite, well, it's got a pretty poor culture, and that's why it doesn't really progress. So Liverpool Football Club has not been as successful as it once was. So you try and create the right culture within that business. And obviously part of that is down to the leader. But here we've got 4 different types of culture on here. The first one is each person has a clearly defined role within the organisation, very clean on job descriptions. And we say that this one here is a role culture. A task culture is based on cooperation and teamwork. Mayo, obviously. A person culture, when individuals are given the freedom to express themselves, so it's a very creative organisation. And finally, an entrepreneurial culture. Now, I think what you'll tend to find is most organisations will have a mixture of these cultures. An entrepreneurial culture is a risk-taking, taking calculated risks. Right, but if an organisation does in fact have a strong culture, then the people have shared values, it's much easier to move that organisation forward and people are much more energised. Whereas a weak culture, there's no energy and there's no pride in the work, and therefore it's quite hard to get that organisation moving forwards. Now that of course is partially down to management. The importance of culture, well, it is vital. Is the business open to new ideas? Or the organisational culture that a firm has clearly been linked to the performance of firms. So for instance, I would say that Virgin, by the very way in which it's set up, very much has an entrepreneurial culture. Toyota's been incredibly successful, and it has a process of Kaizen, which we've done in production, whereby it's very much based upon the idea of continuous improvement. Workers give their ideas, they're acted upon, therefore they're involved in the organisation. And Tata as well. Tata is an organisation that has quite clear entrepreneurial cultures, but it doesn't try and impose its culture on the other parts of the business. So for example, when they took over Jaguar Land Rover, they didn't say, right, this is the way we do things. They said, right, you've clearly built up a great brand, you've clearly got a great product, we would like also to be part of that process. So a lot of businesses, when it's making a change, is all about changing the culture, and it's going to be a very important part of paper 3. So always bear that in mind, the culture of the firm, and if you have a good culture within the firm, it's likely that you're going to be able to move forward. So you're going to have people who work in teams who are able to come up with ideas, and also that they're willing to take risks. The other form of culture actually that we haven't got on here is power culture. Now that is when the leader makes most of the decisions, and it may seem as if that's a bad thing. But if a firm is in a time of crisis, then perhaps that's a good thing, because they're able to make strong decisions quickly and you haven't got time to ask everybody's opinion. So, for example, if you look at Steve Jobs when he returned to Apple in 1997, partially because he had a really good reputation. He'd been at Apple, he started the firm up, he'd left it, he'd been very successful with Pixar. And he came back and he says the whole way in which the firm runs is wrong. We're not doing the right sort of thing. We're not focused enough on a few products. So he created a power culture within it, initially. But eventually that would have turned into a task culture and also an entrepreneurial culture. And eventually, of course, when he died, he left Tim Cook, who's much more democratic in the way in which he does things. They've got a change in culture, but now they've got a very successful formula, which is built around also, I would call it, an innovative culture, that they come up with new ideas all of the time. So therefore, that particular firm is very successful. So culture is vital to the success of an organisation. Thank you.